I mean, he's done a great job this year. He came in January, put his head down and worked. So I just try to help. Like anything that I went through last year, I try to give him some tips on that. He's done a great job doing it.
You're used to college, and then you're getting used to all this. I mean, that's pretty enormous.
Right. I mean, it's just a huge adjustment going from living with your family to coming out here and living on your own. That in itself is a lot to get used to, and then add the football on top of it. I mean, he definitely has a full plate, but he's done a really good job handling it.
Kyle, describe your game as a quarterback. What do you do well out there? What do you still want to work on the most?
I think I do a lot. I'm not a very boastful type of guy, but I think I can make any throw. I think I run the offense well. Make good decisions with the ball. But I mean, overall, I think there's not really one area that I'd say I want to improve on. It's everything. I don't think I'll ever be comfortable with one area and say I don't need to work on that. I can focus on something else. I think it's just the overall game. Just continue to get better in every single area.
Obviously, the five-star guy, you did it the job last year.
Right.
CJ's clearly
Right.
The question is, why did you stay? What do you think the long-term future is? How confident are you that at some point we'll be able to take over into the
Yeah, I think it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And looking at it from the bigger picture, I think coming here, you realize how well you're coached by Coach Day, Coach Dennis, Coach Fitch. So that was really important to me. And on top of that, I feel like just being here, I learned a lot. And so I know that a lot of people thought I could have left and went somewhere else and tried to start this year, but in the long term, I thought it was the best decision for me to stay here and continue to get the field.
Was there ever a time you were tempted?
No. During the season, I was just focused on the season, and then I just let everything work itself out. So I was never really thinking about it, but I know a lot of people are trying to put words in my mouth.
Kyle, is it wild to you at all that you've been here 15 months and the nature of your position is that you can ask questions like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. I'm still close with Jack and Quinn. We talked about it. Just the talent in that room last year was unbelievable, and I think people are going to look back in that room in 5-10 years and go, wow, we had 4 really special guys, and so it definitely is crazy just the way everything played out, but I think it all played out the right way.
Kyle, as close as you guys are, it had to still help you in some ways to narrow your focus, maybe that Quinn and Jack aren't here.
Yeah. I talked to them about it during the season, and I think we were all on the same page that we were just going to compete every day, and so we weren't really worried about what was the off season going to look like. And then when those 2 guys made their decisions to leave, I think it definitely kind of cleared up everything. But other than that, I just told them go out there and compete, wish them the best of luck. But like I said, I think that was just an unbelievable time in the room.
I would have to think, and maybe it's just me, maybe you don't feel this way, but the path looks a lot more clear now. There's no uncertainty about maybe what will happen a year from now.
Right.
Is that part of the comfort for you as well?
I think definitely if you look at it from that perspective, yeah, I think there's still a long way to go from now until next year. So I'm just focused on the present. But when you look at the long-term picture, I guess you could say it clears itself up.
And if you had the play, if something happened to CJ, you had to step in. How much more comfortable are you now than you were last year?
Yeah, it's night and day. It really is. I think when you go through a full off season and then a full season and then another full off season, it's just you see things from a different perspective. And like I said earlier, I think just picking up on the little details now is really the biggest thing. And I think that's where I've grown the most. The game's slowing down, so I think just a combination of all that, it's just a confidence boost when you step out on the field.
Your dad played college football. How much did it help you?
Right.
Probably went through something similar.
Right. Growing up with him, it was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, having a father that played Division I football quarterback, and he's helped me in every single area of my life. And I think the good thing about him is I can turn around and talk to him and just kind of bounce some ideas and see what he thinks. And he's always going to give me his honest feedback, whether it's something I want to hear or whether or not. But he's definitely my biggest critic, my biggest fan. So having him in my corner is really good.
Kyle, what was the week of the Akron game?
Yeah, it was wild. Wasn't sure if CJ was going to play up until about Tuesday or Wednesday, and then when I got the green light, it was kind of like surreal almost, knowing that I was a true freshman starting my first game. But I think it kind of wore off around like Thursday, Friday, and then really had to lock in and focus. And it definitely was, looking back on it, was a really cool experience.
How much do you still think about that? in the grand scheme of the season, maybe people don't think about the Akron game,
Right.
but that was your start.
Yeah, I think that game was a great learning experience because you can practice and watch film all you want, but nothing is like the real deal when you step out there in the field. So just the amount of things that I learned, starting one game, it's ridiculous. So I think that was just a great stepping stone, helping me develop faster and learn the overall game.
Looking back on it, what are the things you remember as lessons you took from it?
I think when you get in that game environment, everything happens a little bit faster. You see a lot of different schemes that you might not see in practice, and we were doing some stuff in scout, and you see a completely different look on the field, so just adjusted it out on the fly. Just things like that you can't really replicate in practice, which is good.
What was it like seeing CJ turn himself into a Heisman Trophy finalist? I know you guys are pretty close, and just to kind of discuss your relationship and what that was like seeing him kind of turn into a star.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was really only a matter of time. I mean, I saw the talent in him really as soon as I got here, and competing against him, I think, I know his game better than anyone else, and I knew it was just a matter of time until he flipped that switch. It was pretty sweet being firsthand to witness that, and I know he took some criticism early, but the way, he bounced back from it and just blew up, it's awesome to see, and I'm really proud of him.
Thanks, man. Coach Day talked about CJ the other day and how even with the success, he still stayed grounded. What's your take on him and what you've seen from him and how he's changed and how he hasn't changed?
Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't changed at all since his success. He's still extremely humble, still a hard worker. And the cool thing I think about our relationship is, it started really before all of that. So I got to know him really well, and then seeing CJ after he blows it, do the same guy. So, it really is cool to see that, and I'm really excited for him in his future.
What most impresses you about him? You see, as a quarterback, when you see throws he makes, decisions he makes, how he carries himself, whatever you want to see.
I think just the way he sees the field, I think, like I was saying earlier, seeing the details, I think he does an unbelievable job with that. He's helped me kind of pick up on whether it's leverage or, safety inside or outside the hat, like just little things like that. He picks on well, and, he sees the full picture really well. So I think when he's in there are games where he'd have 3 incompletions, and I think that just is a reflection of how well he sees the field.
Think you should transfer?
Yeah, it was ridiculous because during the time, I could barely even go on social media just because people would tag me and send me whatever. But I think it definitely helped me kind of block everything out. It's a skill I think I acquired, just kind of blocking everything out and focusing on what's important. But it definitely is ridiculous being here for 15 months and people blowing up my Twitter and Instagram. But blocking it out, I think is definitely a skill.
Is that just a endemic of what's wrong with society or college football? Because it seems weird. It seems weird that people would expect that you, 1 year, should now go look for greener pastures. I mean, you didn't come into this thinking you're playing your freshman year. I know you felt like you could, and you were obviously a snap away from it in any given moment. But how has that forced you to sort of adjust your expectations moving forward?
You're saying
How's just the current state of college football?
Right. Oh yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, especially now with the transfer portal, I feel like if something isn't going the way a guy expected it to, fans and even the player might think I can just put my name in the portal and change a situation like that. But I think you just have to see the bigger picture of it. I mean, what more could I want being at a school like this, getting coached by the best coaches in the world? So I didn't really even think about it at all, to be honest. And I think you just got to see the bigger picture. I mean, do I want to play this year? Of course, but I think you got to look at it from a long-term perspective.
Kyle, how do you practice throwing with anticipation? Coach Day was saying he looked to see you take another step.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things of learning the ins and outs of the offense. Just spending extra hours with the receivers and just seeing what their break points are and anticipating when they're going to be in and out of their breaks and knowing what that spot will be and throwing it there before they even get out of their break has been huge. And so that was one thing that I really wanted to focus on this offseason because I saw how important it was last year. So I just wanted to really hone in, and I told Marvin, Meckin, and JB about that, and I think we really all took a step forward because I think that helps them as well. Right. I think Marvin and I obviously already had that coming in from high school, but getting with Mec and JB I think has been really good because those are guys that you've never thrown before until you get here, and living with them, we work out extra every single day. We still do. So just getting that timing down, I think, is huge. So when you step out on that field, like, I know exactly where JB is going to be when he runs this route, and I know exactly when Mech's going to turn his head. So just things like that, I think, give you a slight advantage. But in the long term, in the long scheme of things, I think that really is important.
Is that the anticipation piece? Is it more about understanding the body language of your receivers, or like how much of that too is understanding where the defenders are going to be?
I think, yeah, it's a little bit of both. That's what I mean when I'm saying, like, the game's slowing down. Like, you can almost see things before it happens, whether it's, anticipating a defender buzzing out underneath, or the receiver snapping his head around and you putting the ball right there. I think it's just a combination of both that have really allowed me to take that next step.
Kyle, for you, was there ever any consideration of, should I go somewhere else and play this year, or were you always fully committed to?
No, I was always fully committed, and during the season, I know people were trying to message me and tag me and stuff on Twitter about it, but I kind of blocked it out and just focused on the season. And then when we lost a team up north in that following week, just kind of popped my head up, and I thought I was in a great spot, and obviously everything kind of played itself out. So I think it definitely all worked out, and I never really thought about it now.
Ryan Day talks about how you always need to be ready as that backup guy. How do you do that to make sure that you are always ready?
I think it's just you got to prepare like the starter, and although it's sometimes hard knowing that you might prepare just as much as the starter and not ever see the field, you have to do that just in case your number is called.
How different does this spring feel than maybe you felt a year ago?
Yeah, it's night and day. Really just looking back on it a year ago, stressing about hoping I know the plays and remember the signals and everything like that, and then now it's a different level of comfort, just being more relaxed in the offense, and I feel like the game's starting to slow down a little bit. So I think it's just huge all over.
Is that different, in terms of your conversations with Ryan Day? Are the things you guys talking about at a much higher level than they were a year ago?
It definitely is next level. I think last year it was more kind of the elementary aspect of the offense and the defenses, and now it's more into the details and the smaller things and just little cues here and there. So I think it's definitely been next level conversation this spring.
What are the biggest areas in which you feel like you've improved right now from where you were a year ago?
I think just coverage recognition overall, getting better with the ins and outs of the offense, whether it's protection, changing plays, stuff like that. I feel like I'm at a totally different comfort level, seeing things quicker, anticipating. So all those areas I think have been really good.
Do you enjoy going out there and competing with CJ and Devin every day?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, coming in, it was me, CJ, and Jack, and you had Quinn in the mix. Now it's me, CJ, and Devin. I think it's been really cool to compete against some of the best guys in the country, and I think we all kind of feed off of each other. So it's been really good just throughout the entire course of my stay here.
How do they make you better?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about it with CJ, and there would be little things that he sees during my reps, and I'll come back and he'll talk to me about it, and vice versa. So it's been really good just using each other as a beneficial relationship. And I think having a guy like CJ who's had success like he has, I think it gives me an extra level of comfort and trust in him, knowing that what he sees I think is legit, and he's going to tell me everything that he saw, and so it's been really good in that way.
Kyle, when you guys were in bowl practice last year and you had some guys leave, were you kind of running the ones there when CJ was?
When CJ was at the Heisman ceremony, it was really just me, Jagger, and JP. So I got all the reps with the ones and then some with the two. So that was really a good stepping stone for me to get some momentum going and kind of get the ball rolling, and good experience too. So
was it? I obviously CJ was still on the team, but it wasn't here. Was it weird to look around I'm the only salary?
Yeah. I mean, sitting in the meetings. And you're just watching film, and the ones going, you're like, all right, someone else will come up with the twos, and it's you again with the twos. So it was just really good getting that coaching, that experience. So that's what I'm saying. The ball prep was huge.
When you're in those meetings, and now you've kind of been pushed up to the one, is there a different responsibility in just how you talk with the coaches? Are you expected to respond to things, know things, that sort of thing?
Well, I think Coach Day holds me to that caliber even when I'm running with the twos, so it's not really much of a different conversation. So I'm just constantly, I think, being held to the highest of standards, which is good, and that's what you want ultimately. So I don't think it's a huge transition when you're going with the twos versus the ones.
How much did that Akron game help you last year to be able to have a start, play a full game, going into your second year?
Yeah, that's just a huge learning point in my career, I think, going through that whole week of preparation, and learning how to prepare like you're the starter, then you're the guy, watching film, and then getting extra reps after practice, just getting specific timings of the route tree down with the guys, and then going into the game, there are different things like you'll practice something and scout the exact way during the week, and then you get a completely different look during the game and adjusting to it on the fly. It was good. So I think just having that under my belt now is a huge confidence boost from that one out.